Yeah, we back at it. 10 toes down.
Yeah, it feels like forever in this building.
Yeah, it's been a crazy summer. It's been a minute since we've been over here.
We back again once again.
Back again like we never left, man.
Like we never left.
In this episode, we taking it back to New. First of all, man, how y'all guys doing, man? I ain't seen y'all in a while, man.
Wonderful, magnificent, and great.
Yes, sir. And yourself?
Wonderful, magnificent, and
I like
trying to stay hydrated, right? I want to shout out to my team or whatever. I feel like we've been very consistent, and I think we're breaking the barriers when it comes to people working together. Mm-hmm. I think we've been through our ups and downs and stuff like that. So I'm just super excited when we have great guests in the building.
Yes,
I'm super excited to be around you guys, and we're gonna keep it going.
And man, without further ado, we got the great ones in the building first. You know
the what? The great ones,
man.
Like,
let's go. First, I gotta introduce my man. Tony, my man Tony Stanz in the building, man.
Yeah, Tony.
You know, hailing from New York City. You know, dope lyricist, been doing this thing for a minute. We was just chopping up behind the scenes, man. I used to see his brother at the Lyricist Lounge doing this thing. You know what I mean? If you know about New York hip hop, you know how sturdy the Lyricist Lounge is and how important the Lyricist Lounge is to hip hop. Yeah.
Make sure y'all Google that. Google that.
Yeah, right. Google the Lyricist Lounge. If you're talking about New York City,
Lyricist Lounge is always there.
You know what I'm saying? EO Dub, the Pyramid. Like if you was doing your thing, and we come from a certain everyone. If you was doing your thing, man, you knew it was a certain infamous spots. Blackthorn 51. We used to talk about Blackthorn 51. That was known for the best. I don't use the word underground because to me underground is like it's stifling. It's like I use the word independent because independent, you know what I mean, is to me is worldwide. You go anywhere. So I hate using that word underground. I don't consider you an underground artist. I consider you one of the best independent artists to come out the city in the last 25 years. Thank you. So you know what I mean. I gotta give you your flowers, brother. You know, for real, and you always been, and we gonna get into it because you always been underrated and slept on. And everybody know who you are, but we gonna get into it. How I just feel like
say my name. When no one
you always kept yourself sturdy, and you wasn't gonna compromise certain things.
True.
So we gonna go ahead and get into that. And right here, I got my man Verse in the building. Verse was good, man. Listen, Verse
that name suits him so well.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Former bad boy artist. He's written for some of your favorite rappers that you know what I mean, top-notch rappers or what have you. You know, he's been in the game for a childhood prodigy, damn near.
What? Mm-hmm. Dinosaur years?
You know what I'm saying? So listen, man.
And he's what you would call a vet. You know what I'm saying? So
literally, he's literally written for your favorite rappers. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here or there. You know what I mean? He don't like to toot his own horn.
Yeah, don't let that go over your head.
You know, so yo, man, we appreciate y'all pulling up, bro.
We appreciate. How you guys doing today?
Grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Excited, humbled, blessed, super blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's what's up.
We're riding a wave right now, man. We caught a wave and
y'all hustling.
Yeah, we back outside, man. We rehearsing in parks and rehearsal spaces. Like we just been trying to switch it up.
Right.
Get to the studio as often as we can to put a freestyle in between what is now 13 songs, I think, that we have.
Wow.
Like 12 real songs, man, and one song that we've been pushing for the last 2 months. So
freestyle in between songs.
So we, the industry is about what's happening now, right? And music is microwavable. So it's like we figured we've done all the work. The work is done. So we give them some instrumentals, freestyles in between dropping.
Those advertisers.
Singles, right? Yeah, because, real lyricists want to hear real lyricists, right? People who love lyrics, they want to know that part of hip-hop is not gone. Like, and when I met him, I knew of him. We knew of each other, just being around the same circles. But we got really introduced when I brought him to a show that I've been doing called a Black Love Show. And we met through a mutual friend who he went to school with and who I've been working with for over 20 years. And it was just like, it was immediate. When he came to the show, knocked the crowd on their feet. And that's what I wanted. I had comedy, poetry, hip hop, and R&B. So I tried to make it a variety show. So if I brought a lyricist out, if I brought two rappers out, We don't have the right ones. But it was at that moment that I knew, I'm like, yeah, we need to
cook
work.
up and do something.
And
Yeah.
eventually it happened. So that's where we at right now.
And I'm glad you touched on that, man, because I done seen the both of y'all perform, man, and y'all stage shows are incredible.
Thank you.
You know, like we in day and age, and we always talk about how not too many people know how to rock a show.
Right.
Yeah,
Like-
it's a science. It's a science. You have to know how to, like, physically, like we was talking earlier, like physically, emotionally, and psychologically engage with your audience. You know what I'm saying? Because they're there for a reason. They're there to be inspired. They're there to be moved. You know what I'm saying? So when you really understand the science of just performing and the showmanship that's involved in it, you can, be more dynamic in your presentation. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's what most people, I would hope, strive for as an artist or someone that respects the craft, because everybody don't respect the craft.
I was going to say that. I mean, for the young ones out there, the millennials.
And some of y'all YNs, y'all niggas need to respect the craft, because
do y'all feel like
you're going to
they
see
respect
that
it?
We don't rap
You
over
ain't
our
even
vocal
gonna-
tracks. And when I met him,
He
I had already
was-
saw the fact that he's not going to be rapping over his own words. I lose a lot of respect for artists that won't prepare enough to get on the stage, especially if you're being paid.
Right.
You rapping over the song, I could have stayed home and listened to the song.
So we got
for
the
real,
one
when I hear that,
he gets aggravated with that. And I met that thing. I'm like, why are you so upset with them? They're doing
I brought a lot of
I'm ready
artists
to
to my show
leave
that did it.
right then and there. I'm ready to leave. Like,
If I
I
could
just want.
If I could just add this perspective, I think what happened is it's transformed. I think artistry has become more advertising, and since the currency now in media is attention, the oversaturation is because artistry is diluted. So when you went back to psychologically, emotionally engaging, where there's a disconnect is there's opportunity to create, right, a fan in that moment, because tangible performance is still the prime of artistry. That's why tours are so effective. And that's why after tours, record sales increase, because they want to subconsciously relive that experience. So if you can effectively do that, and then I'll say this, rappers tend to be more connected nowadays to trying to be quote unquote authentic towards the streets rather than artistic. And being artistic is shied upon because they thinking that criminality is masculinity. So what happens is their stage performance suffers from cuffing the mic, right? Being intoxicated, overly intoxicated before it. Multiple people on the stage who are not performers. We already listed background vocals, then not understanding audience song structure towards audience, because certain songs are songs to listen to, certain songs are songs to dance to, certain songs are songs to perform.
Knowing your audience.
Right, knowing the audience, and then understanding the aspect of where your brand is, because your brand is not connected to your talent. So if you understand that this is a performance song, then you should be performing that song no matter how much times, because if you're a new brand, you're creating a new audience at that moment.
Yo, B.
A young man had
That's a whole gem right there, man.
young man
Y'all
has to
niggas
say
better be
something.
taking notes right now,
You have
because
to.
school is in session.
The school is in session. A young man did say that social media is killing artists, because you get that one hit wonder, and then you get that YouTube one hit wonder, Instagram one hit wonder. And so people get so excited, and then when they go to see you perform or go to listen to you with other stuff, they don't feel the same, and they go, I come here for that ish, you know? So,
Said the best, microwave.
Right. Because there's no development.
Microwave,
You know what I'm saying?
It feed you, but it ain't gonna last.
They're doing it because they mans in them told them they sound dope.
Right.
Yo,
they
yo, do that.
Our people got
And that's
talent in
cool.
all ways, different ways.
But
It's more.
someone that respects the craft is going to really do research to understand what it takes to be that top tier type of person or type of performer or type of artist or type of songwriter or type of, you know what I'm saying, or type of visionary. you got to do the research to understand what it takes, and nobody's doing it.
You got to think about, in other cultures, they may raise their children to take dance lessons or music lessons, right? They teach them the art form. Who teaches hip hop? We experience it, we live it. Right. So it's not something that people think now on a college level they do. They benefit off of it, right?
Started,
they turn it into curricula.
Something
they put thousands of kids in seats and they take these classes. They electives for the most part, right? You ain't gonna major in hip hop because if you could, I would have a PhD, right? I would have jumped on that ship a long time ago.
That's a fact.
But I think we start as an educator and an educating administrator for over 30 years. I work in youth development. Hip hop is just a part of the culture. But if we stop, understanding that this is the linkage, we can't turn our back on the fact that hip hop is going to be in them. So between the drill and the trap, we're going through every era with them. And this drill era right now, it could be the end of the music as we know it, because they trying to take it off the map. Yeah. But then what else comes with it? Right? Because a lot of the messages was drill before drill just said, we actually going to make good on our threats. Think about it. Drill is the only form of music that's, if I say I'm going to do it,
now I gotta do it.
And then I gotta record it, or I gotta tell you that I did it. Not caring about the consequences.
Not caring about the consequences.
You're indicting yourself, but that's another story, right? Most of them are in jail on Rikers because of them telling on themselves. But you self-indicting yourself, and then you wondering why you locked up for 20 or 30 years because you gotta tape it. It's like the movie 8mm. Eventually, this social media was going to come into play. People was going to tape murders and that's exactly what drill music is.
Yeah.
If it's not being taped in real time, some of it is, then they're going to post it later. They're going to rob you. They're going to show you that they robbed it. And again, that's something that I think a lot of little kids think is a pathway into the industry. Okay. It's through the drill route. And that's in a lot of states now.
I'll add an industrial perspective to what he said. Gratuity, right? Gratuity consumption and contracts came at drill. Before drill, there weren't gratuity and contracts from likeness because the business model was for the artist to exist. So now the business model is for the artist to die, to maximize that attention in the middle of that time and encapsulate the catalog, because labels function off the catalog. Labels don't tour, yet the prime labels make 51, 72, and I think 64 if I'm last time I checked, but they make this a day, $1 million a day. And you do that from owning the intellectual property. You don't have to tour, right? So now if you own the intellectual property, now, and then you add in the streaming, where the streaming has a private equity within the labels, now you're getting double that. So now the incentive is the gratuity ownership, and that gratuity ownership only maximizes upon death. Like it says it in the contract, and that was invented during drill. Just like when people, antagonize and go at Leo Cohen with a 360 deal, right? Is it ethical? No, but it was a technical response to the piracy, right? And so he could have made it more positive, where he could have gave the intricacy of the 360 was more from a partnership perspective, the same way that Sprite did with Pepsi and Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? Their 360 of the advertising, they did that. He could have did that, but they didn't want to do that
Insurance policies were also taken out. So as an employee, right? As a record label, you're an employee. People don't think that way, but if you have a major deal, you work for the record label.
Right.
So if you have benefits, most jobs, full-time jobs,
you're not an independent contractor.
Right. So then with those benefits, we say my life insurance, my 401k, which most people complain about if they don't have.
Right.
So, I mean, it can't be a coincidence in a lot of these cases that young men is ending up dead. And if somebody's collecting off that, then that's something we may find out.
The only way you're an independent contractor is if it's a joint venture, right? If you're a joint venture, you're in a long-term situation where you have a continuous first option, such as a Russel, right? Because there's misconceptions of that. Like he did have major label existence. So going back to what Tony was saying, when you go into the insurance, how they also maximize the insurance. They maximize the insurance from the daily activities of you, and then they actually put it in the court, and then all that daily activity that you spending they get it back in the taxes. So what happens is they have to repeat the cycle. They have to sign. They have to relate. What they don't want no more is they don't want no more superstars, but they do want the circulation. You know all that.
It's like they got to meet their quota. It's a quota every year.
That's an appropriate analogy. A quota.
So they don't want no more superstars.
No.
So not the Beyoncés, the Rihannas,
If
because
you
you know
look
they
at-
categorize people A, B, C lists.
I'll simplify it. If you look at every superstar, right, and a superstar, people have to remove, especially hip hop culture, because we're so over competitive, because everybody's trying to compete and they're not paying attention to why people win. You look at all the superstars right now, right? Their brands are attacked, and the reason why their brands are attacked, the company, right, doesn't want the possibility of that continuous level to be a possible situation. So they want it to seem non-credible, because at the end of the day, right, the information of music is now there. When he was 15, no one was talking about publishing. No one was even talking about the intricacy of record deals. Now, a 13-year-old kid is in the business of an artist, right? While they're discussing that. So that collective alone makes them more defensive on a latent power, because at the end of the day, if you haven't, that's why ageism is systemically pushed. It's not for personal reasons. It's
okay.
right. If you don't know, if you're young, you can be manipulated and you don't know. But if you have access to information and you're a grown individual, you can make more situations with financial literacy. You can make more situations with credit. Now subconsciously, even now the label is a partner. And what they don't want is that, because at the end of the day, if it's complete independence, then there's more control of the music.
And they lose
right? So
leverage.
now you won't always hear
Control of the music.
right. You won't always hear the worst version of the socially engineered concept of what they tell you black culture is, when that's not black culture.
Whoa,
It's part of a system. It's part of a system that they use to generate, denigrate, and encapsulate, a whole generation, and they do it generations at a time.
Because it wouldn't be harmful to be partners with them, right? It wouldn't take anything from their pockets.
No,
so
but-
obviously this is about the the music and what they want to put out, because that's where the
Are we helping them though?
of the masses.
Are we helping them?
That's a question.
Are we offering ourselves up? Because social media is that, right? That's a way for us to market and promote. But this algorithm really works against people who do it righteously. And it rewards the people that's out here, because that's the message that it wants to push across. I see so much on my timeline now that's opposite of what I believe in. So let's say I'm a specific party. I'm getting a bunch of stuff that's the opposite party on my timeline. And I don't understand that. So it means that somebody is pushing that agenda.
Or because they always say, depending on who you follow or what you search and what you look up, that's what's supposed to come up on your timeline. So you're saying you do
total opposite of my beliefs, and I'm like, how did this happen? But again, we don't control the algorithm. We don't, and I think the algorithm is put in place for a reason, which is why TikTok in Japan is different than TikTok here in the United States.
That's a fact.
And they made sure to separate the two, because
it's informative there.
When we were getting it from there.
Right.
It was
Look what happened when
when
TikTok shut down for a day or
money.
two. What happened? What happened to our youth? Our youth.
They
were
shut
going
that
crazy.
shit down.
Adults too.
Crazy.
We're going crazy.
Adults too. That's the crazy part. It affects the adults. What I want to ask you is, with the music that you guys are putting out now, what's the goal? Because obviously you have a plethora of information and knowledge. You have so much history. Are you trying to preserve what you know is to be hip hop? Like, what is your goal? Outside of, obviously, I don't believe in poverty, so I would definitely want you guys. Poverty is a disease, to be making money from it, right? I'm talking about generational wealth. That's a given. But outside of that, what is your goal?
You first.
Me first? The universe has been humbling me actually to get closer to the goal. So the first part is to build my community, because the community creates independence, and then independence creates longevity and control. The other part is to diversify and have commercial success and access, because with the the commercial success is cross branding, and with cross branding, then there's infrastructure, and where that cross branding leads to massive infrastructure, because at the end of the day, that's just the power of media. And right now, I can't go into the intricacies of it, but you know, there's a other situation, you know, where it's looking like I'm gonna have that opportunity, and I'm also grateful that right now we got to shout out DJ Bedtime, Remy my DJ.
All right, shout out DJ Bedtime.
We first was number 23, then we went to what?
8.
No, then we went to 17,
Right.
then we went to 10, then we went to 8, then we went to 4. You know, and that's dope. You know, been picking it up. You know, shout out to DJ G Money. Shout out to Hocus for Fifth. You know, people been supporting the song, but the song is to say it's a human song.
Dope.
Bad things happen to good people. You know, and you just wish it was, you know, the other way around.
So,
and it's just a human. You know.
So for me, I think it's a lot different than verse. You know, I've been rapping now for over 30 years, man. And I'm embarrassed to say it. It's almost embarrassing. And I know that's not because the people I'm in the room with might not look at it like that.
No, we don't.
But the more we get toward this pinnacle of where we're at, right? It's only so far that I want to go. And I know that I've been trying to put a mic down for the last 5 years. And it's just something about the art form that when I see certain things happen, it makes me say, nah, I can't quit yet. So I call myself Super Tony, right? 9 to 5, I wear a suit to work, and I jump in the phone booth, and then I turn into this MC, this rapper. But I feel no matter what I'm doing, how do I save this, right? This culture, this hip hop, because working with youth shows you that everything they do is based on hip hop, right? Everything they say out their mouth. What's up, gang? Word to my dads.
Right.
That don't come from New York. And as a purist, a New York hip hop purist, I take things like that and I say, this affects what I do in education.
Okay.
Because I got an 11-year-old calling me gang.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't refer to me like that. You don't got to call me Mr. Davis, but you know what I'm saying?
Gang.
You're not going to call me gang. You're not going to call me something that you think makes you cool to me, because it doesn't. And, you know, I'm realizing that's where I'm at in the game. I want to take what I'm doing to show them that you don't necessarily have to give up. There's no age limit in hip hop. And then I want to bring some of these young boys along and hope that they can balance spreading the message. We're having fun, right? Because again, we can talk about hip hop all day. I love it. But there's different elements of hip hop. And I understand.
I was gonna ask you that. What are the elements?
I think in terms of the 5 elements of hip hop, breakdancing, graffiti, but I'm talking about in terms of hip hop and MCing, just the content. When I say different elements, there's different things you can talk about in hip hop.
Okay.
So he's talking about, like, not trying to cut your wisdom off. Like, you got the, you know, the backpack conscious community. You got the trap rappers. You got the drill rappers.
The boom
you
bap.
got the boom bap rappers. You got the West Coast rappers, right? You got the
Atlanta has its own style. Florida has its own style.
Memphis also.
And New York has got
Houston
swallowed
also.
up in it. So people like himself and myself from the 90s, I'm watching producers get on these podcasts. Producers that, and I'm not going to say no names or no labels, but I went to some of the biggest labels. So did he. He was on one of the biggest labels. I'm watching them say that they deliberately kept people like us out the game. Right?
Yeah.
And then say that they deliberately was helping to jerk acts like the Locks because the Locks wasn't smart enough to have a lawyer. Right? But the Locks had a lady named Wendy Day. Shout out to Wendy Day.
Yeah, shout out to Wendy Day.
Wendy Day was helping me when I was like 19, 20, 21.
Come on.
Really starting out. And she was telling me, yo, I got this Cash Money got 30 million. I'm like, who? I didn't believe her because it was impossible for anybody to get $30 million to do something that I was doing for free daily. And maybe 6 months later, Cash Money had a deal.
Yeah, not to cut your wisdom. It's actually 60 million. It was 30 million up front, 30 million on the back end.
Wow.
She was telling me 30. So
she made history.
We at what? We in August of 2026.
Yeah.
I have heard so many men and women be so passionate about hip hop and preserving the culture, like trying to make a change for our children, and just so passionate, right? We talking about transparency and being real. This is, I told you, the month and the year we in. Do you see a transformation happening? Do you see?
I definitely do. It's part of my goal. contemporary commercial success. Why?
Okay.
Yes. Why? I like transparency. Relevance matters because we just live in a capitalistic society, and there's a hierarchy to capitalism.
Okay.
And in that hierarchy to capitalism, relevance matters because at the end of the day, it tangibly creates its own power, whether it's through media, through currency. So one of the best things artists can do if they want to have impact is to be successful, right? That's just one of the best things. That's just a uncomfortable truth because we keep paralleling having that success to selling out.
Or associated with evil, right?
And that's an indoctrination on purpose, so we don't get there.
It.
And I'll end this thought with this: the industry, right? Right now, I think they socially crowning Punch as the new president, and I see the intelligence and I see the diversity because he's trying to present the concept of the different genres, but he's one of the first people that are trying to educate them on it. But the statistics are showing. This is the first time that the contemporary generation are statistically more successful than the new generation in album sales, tours, merch, right? And why? I'll simplify it.
Brandon.
The artists in this day and age do not consume artistry from an authentic place. The artist, the contemporary fan does. The song matters. So now the song matters. The other things become a byproduct of that. And then today with them, it's just there's still people. J. Cole's fan base is still listening to his first mixtapes.
Yeah.
So fans out here.
Right. So and I say all of that to say, like I said, whether it's Drake, whether it's J. Cole, whether it's
the younger ones,
their brands are being attacked, so they could be as less of a relevant because of their financial, statistical, and creative power that they do have. So the best thing artists can do is to be successful, and then once you're successful, not contribute. That's the key part. Not contribute to the degradation of the culture, right? So you want to complain about Spend That, right? We now got Raspity just made a new dope record. Support it. You know what I mean? Right. When complain, you support it. But then also too, artists have to understand that, right? Escapism is a real thing, right? Music theory is a real thing. Something needs to feel good, right? Something needs to feel good. 50 Cent's a record in the club was synonymous with birthday when it was just because it was a catchy bridge. He's talking about meeting up with Ja Rule and getting it popping on the record there, but it's so musically effective. So that has to work for him. You know, like we have to make good music.
I think the point though is that now music has changed because the consumer that can't go into a record store anymore. There's no Crazy Eddie. There's no Wiz, right?
Yeah.
Tower Records,
Well,
right? We had a physical product. We had Target too. I mean, toward the end of those record stores, right? Once those spaces started to close down, and then streaming became the way that the industry could take it back, right? Because independence was made them say, wait a minute, we got to figure out a way to take the money back out of their pocket. Yeah. They was watching young men become millionaires just like basketball. So now you got to actually look to listen. And that's what bothers me. If you're not nice in social media, you could be the best rapper, but if you don't know how to control your phone, you're going to struggle because music is put out so much. If you remember Dat Piff,
that was
literally, there are more rappers than fans now. So when we do shows, you say, put your hand in the air, yo, what's up?
Mostly rappers in the crowd.
Because I'm going next.
Yeah, it's mostly rappers in the crowd, not the fans.
I get that a lot. Yeah. But you know, we just did a show,
especially in New York,
and the show was crazy. But the energy, it was from the time we walked in, I'm like, this is my energy, right? Because people knew what they were there for.
Fact.
Right? It's not about what you wearing, right? And I don't mind saying this. When Lots battled Dipset, that shit changed New York hip hop for the better.
Yeah.
Because it made everybody from outside, we are the birthplace.
Yeah.
I don't care where you at, you're not better than us.
Facts.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Right? Because we started it. When they did that, it showed that the Lots did what? They prepared.
I talk about this all
Damn,
the time.
they made hip hop look like it should look, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to say this is what hip hop looked like to somebody that
They
never
put New
saw
York
hip
back in the
hop,
positive light, hip hop
Show
wise.
them that.
You could tell they was healthy.
Right.
It was
do you know how much their career took off after that? They in their
Hell
50s.
yeah.
So that was inspiring because it showed me again that look to listen. I listened to look with them because the words are there. But this generation, because of Snapchat, 6 seconds is quick.
It's
and
fast.
I'm gonna
Right.
keep
Not just for
scrolling.
music, but just funny stuff, content creation. It just
I look at how
goes
long
and
people
goes.
watch my songs for. We put up a song, I go to the analytics.
Yeah.
Because if it's 2 minutes, and I do that on purpose, a song shouldn't be more than 3 minutes.
Everybody have a short
Because people,
attention span.
their attention span,
It's short.
they
Yeah, 2
gonna
verses.
scroll away from it.
You can't even do
Same
3
way
verses no
a young
more.
person like to say the word "what up, gang." Another socially engineered term that they use is "doing too much."
Doing too much.
And think about that. This generation has
Tells you to lower the
moved
bar.
away from
Right.
due process. Why? You know what's the important? You know what's good in due process? When you have to look up in the dictionary, when you have to look up in the encyclopedia, is esoteric knowledge that's being given to you at the time. Why? You're learning to research. You're learning diction. You're learning spell. You're learning regurgitation. You're learning memory.
Right.
So now your brain is compartmentalizing different aspects of intelligence. Google just gives you the information.
Over.
So it removes the work ethic towards it.
You're not using those other parts of your brain that you normally use.
Because you have the information,
Yeah.
that you have context. And I'll simplify the ending of this. And I say this. Anyone can have an opinion. Only an experienced person can have a perspective. Because a perspective is not an opinion, it's an analyst, it's an analyzation from a truth that you experienced. Right? So you have to have some level of professionalism to have a perspective. Notice, NBA players are less critical of the NBA NBA analysts. NBA analysts are less critical of the NBA players. The analysts that are most disrespectful are the people who never play the game. Right? So when we remove that, when we remove that due process, he talked about the due process. When we remove the due process, you start to think that you don't have to work for it. At the end of the day, the technical part of rapping is a literacy. You have to know how to read
I'm a
and
decent
write.
man in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
I'm a decent man in the heart of the city.
Right.
Right? Viral.
I'm a decent man in the heart of the city.
Was it a whole song?
No.
I had never seen anything. That's how I know that, because you asked a great question. Like, where do you think? It's hard to predict because that's not somebody that's been rapping longer than either one of us. But a hook turns in to go viral, and now he can hit you with 45 seconds.
Right.
You
To
know,
say the same thing 1,000 times, and repost it and repost
You know,
it.
That also,
And that's no shade or hate toward him, right?
nah.
Whatever
You know-
works, whatever works.
You know it's crazy because my partner from Memphis, my man GC, they got a group called the Kinfolk Thugs, right? So they have put out a regional hit called "Back It Up and Dump It" back in like 2008, right?
Yeah.
But then like 2 years ago, it goes viral out of nowhere again.
Wow.
So then on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of little streams that
Right.
it's just the 45 seconds.
What city is this? What city is this?
Memphis.
based on?
Right.
Wow, right.
Back it up
So that's
and dump
already
it.
that's
Back
already
it
a
up and
hotbed
dump it for me. Back it up. You know what I mean? So
choruses
that-
and hooks and sing along.
They're good.
And we pay attention to that comes from, so it's the same dopamine from World Star. So because of media nowadays and because of capitalism and culture, the average person is broken with their admiration. They don't have healthy admiration. If someone admires you to a point where it's a lot, they start to compete with you indirectly. So they want to enjoy themselves in a condescending manner. So now, right? City of Demons, why it blew up, he was first laughed at. Right? Now I'm gonna pay attention because now I'm giving you attention, but now and that's why people love to call something trash, or people love to expose, because they want power. They want power, especially when a person is not quote unquote famous. They need their moment, right, to divulge some level of power and energy over that.
I disagree though. I'm gonna disagree there.
Okay.
Healthily, only because in that particular situation, I feel like he was pushed for the algorithm to work for him.
Yeah.
There's a certain message that the powers that be want to get through.
Yeah.
That's why there is an algorithm.
Listen, let me tell you, they got plants.
It's an algorithm for a
China
reason.
and all over to make them algorithms work. I've seen it. It's been exposed. So I'm like,
they
wow.
do.
Because you can't explain why people that's done 10 times the amount of work, have a bigger presence, can't break that algorithm.
But you know what it is?
Well, I was saying
Also-
that the condescending part, like if, like you say with the World Star, right? People getting punched in the face. So that energy is the same as that. Even though his message was powerful, positive in the word of this is a city of demons and it's not fair, and it's so he in the beginning when it first came out, he was a laughingstock, and in our over competitive culture, especially in the tri-state area, people love to disrespect, be more condescending, compete, say something's not good, and then they'll go viral dissing it.
But that's one of the actions.
Before,
It's so negative always trumps, right? That's what gets
Algorithm-wise, yes.
In algorithms, in terms of urban culture and the where it is, with the unhealthy level of competitiveness.
Yes.
Right, because we already see in the culture right now what competitive is doing.
Oh my goodness!
Hold on, not trying to cut your wisdom off. I give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
Me and Shaka got a record called "Fuck Uncle Sam." You know, Shaka produced the record, right? It's "Fuck Uncle Sam" that we put out when COVID happened, right? So the record was buzzing. It was getting a nice little crazy buzz, right?
Yeah.
But whenever I tried to put money behind it, like through YouTube or whatever, they would never let me put the money behind it.
You couldn't even boost it.
And
what other time would they?
But you know what's crazy? Like this was during the 2020 election, right?
They stifled
and it literally said, I'm quoting it. I'm not
paraphrasing.
I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember word for word, but it literally said that basically the record, because it mentioned the election. So they basically saying, hold on, you're not pumping this shit right now while we go ahead and
they just started to
got this damn election.
Dissect it.
It mentioned the on YouTube. It mentioned the politics.
Yeah, the keywords and stuff like
Keywords.
that would
suppress
it.
And it's a dope record. It was and that was like and like how we was talking about how back in the day how I first started singing. I'm younger than you, but you know what I mean. I just that's kind of what turned me off completely. I'm like, damn, I know we got this dope ass record,
right?
And honestly, if you listen,
I wonder what happened because you fire. I'm saying that not because I'm sitting here. I told him, I said, nah, this dude has always been fire, right? But when there's a message, and I think that's a part. If that record that I mentioned, I'm a decent man, niggas be scheming. I don't get it. Because that was it. That's gonna get pushed a million times.
So
and then once it becomes a spectacle, it's not about talent. It's about how can we make this go up top? Because people who got the real message, we can't, and you just said it, we can't have it both ways, right?
Can't have it both ways, yeah.
Like every time a leader emerges, they figure out a way
to go ahead and trump that. So I understand that where it's like, okay, you talking fuck Uncle Sam. But if you listen to the actual bars that we saying, we're not saying nothing too crazy, but like in the chorus is no justice, no peace. You know what I mean? So we the chorus is
Listen, they don't want.
Basically, they said we could influence an election
just for a second.
But that's the power of hip hop
to have that unified
front.
Mm-hmm. Once we become unified, the game is over.
And that's why I want to ask you guys, but. This is also, before I ask you this question, this is also like a numbers game and a blue check game. Mm-hmm. So it's like, even if the message gets out to a great amount of people, if they don't see that blue check or they don't see a whole bunch of people following or certain people following, they don't want to mess with it. So they psychologically are messing with the masses as well, which is very interesting. Because I try to tell my NTO son, look, don't worry. I know people who don't have a bit of comments and all that on social media, but I bet you he making hundreds of thousands on his webinars. I'm telling you this.
She just elaborated what I just said, right? That this capitalistic society creates a hierarchy to it. You just elaborated and showed the hierarchy. Hip hop is an American culture, but it's still under an American ideology, which is capitalism. And what happens is, even in our culture, we revert back to capitalism. The other day, Ebro disrespected his co-host, in a condescending way, from a capitalistic perspective. You don't have enough money to and he made, and the concept is this, right?
The way he said it.
In the patriarchy system, right? Masculinity is performative, is based upon accomplishment. Not character, accomplishment. So now that's why I said one of the best things you can do is be successful. Now, because with that you could set an example. But going back to simplifying that, it's the hierarchy. So why I said those things become condescending is every neighborhood there's some really talented kid that a lot of people know that they will not share, they will not support because they're in competition, because that person has real talent, and they're competing with that because they admire them and they're not healthy with it, so that admiration becomes jealous.
Like I'll give you a perfect example. And R.I.P. my man Fox 5. That you know that just got killed a couple months back, right? Now, I know, you know what I mean? Anybody that's been on the circuit in New York City the last 2 decades know Fox was ill.
Tough.
Fox was nasty. Especially freestyling off the dome. Fox is coming in right now.
Always had a rhyme. Always had a rhyme in the top.
And like you know what I mean? I'm just follow me. I'm connected. Like I remember one time being in the room with Fox, right? It's a few of us or whatever. We in the projects, we writing or whatever, right? So you know everybody, you know how it is. You know what I mean? Everybody smoking, drinking, they spitting or whatever. So then I fall asleep. True story. Wallahi, I wake up 2 hours later. Fox is still rapping, nonstop. And I'm like, God damn, this nigga. I'm like, all right. I'm like, but that's how much he loved hip hop. That's how much he loved the culture.
Right.
So I also know that he kind of was disgusted after a while because he felt like, damn, I done put all this work and time in, and I never got my just due. Right. So it takes for him to die. That's a whole nother story. We not gonna get into that.
Please, no.
To go ahead and all of a sudden he's in every single hip hop publication. Like I know Fox, he would be laughing right now, like damn, it took.
Big said it. Big said you're nobody till somebody kills you.
The stuff, you know, that's a fact. So, and I know him, it was like he'd be laughing about it, like damn, it take me getting shot for y'all to
That's
go ahead.
That's the thing, right? He never put in no work, right? So putting in work mean you either gotta shoot somebody or get shot, right? If a part of getting a deal is how many times you got shot to live to talk about it, then I never had one. I would rather not get shot to be more marketable or to come off of a bit or to say I moved 35 keys, right? It's certain parts of hip hop that there's nothing we could do about it.
It's crazy.
Every 10 years, it just revolves back around.
So let me connect the dots now, right? We used to talk about how 2020 was pushing that record, right? That's around the same time where. Well, we was, drill been around before 2020, but this New York drill, that's when the New York drill really took off in 2020, right? Because like they'll go ahead and give it to Chicago, but like if you listen to Dirk don't really do drill like that. He's not a drill artist, quote unquote. G Herbo, I really don't consider him a drill artist. I'm talking, he's the biggest dudes coming out of Chicago, right? Even Kane Vaughn, the short time that he had,
he was great.
He's a dope rapper. If you listen to him, he's telling stories. Yeah, you can call him drill, but I don't put
What
him.
was they called before they gave him that label? Because drilling come from them saying I'm about to drill something. So,
but I'm connected. I'm hold on, follow through. I know I'm all over the place, but follow through, right? So now you have a bunch of New York artists, right? Who have and no shade on them or whatever, because you know what I mean, they trying to get in where they fit in or whatever, and us coming from our communities or whatever, we figured, this is what we gotta do to go ahead and get on and survive, right? We gonna go ahead and do it. So this is what they want to hear. This is what they want to hear or whatever, right? So you got a bunch of New York artists from all over the city or whatever. That's this the way we gonna follow. So we're using Chicago slang, right? We're using
That's crazy.
like even with New York always had gangs, but we had our own gangs, right? You know what I mean? Look, the Decepticons, Low Lives, like, you know what I mean? We always did the New York way. We didn't, you know what I mean? Even before that, the Black Spades and like if you know, if you want,
didn't think of it as a gang.
It basically is.
Message, but
Right.
they're jokes.
Definitely, that's a whole nother topic altogether. But they definitely gang.
They had a purpose.
They had a purpose.
Steve Harvey said, "Don't let these
But they definitely gang at the same time. You know what I mean? But so at the end of the day, now it's kind of like the labels are picking up it. They signing, they're picking up these artists. They sign these artists left and right from these different neighborhoods or whatever. It all sounds the same. Most of the drill records out of New York sounded exactly
the same beat. It was like
the same.
It was
the
like
same
cadence,
cadence,
that
the same rhythm,
everybody chat
the
off
same
word.
everything.
That's not what it was. It started to sound like that.
What are we doing now?
The same energy, the same demonic
Don't say
energy.
demonic.
Listen,
Nah, because it is.
It's
They call
the
themselves
same
demons,
rhythm, the same
A
tempo.
sister- no,
you can
And there's no
listen to the
disrespect, no
radio.
shade on them. I'm just, you know what I mean?
Let me tell y'all
Man.
something. A sister, a very conscious sister, has said something about 2 or 3 years ago on her YouTube. She said, "I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but even in these drill rap, this drill music or other trap music," and she started to decompartmentalize the tunes and was able to show that there's some indigenous tuning into that. You know what
Well,
I mean?
definitely because of the melody.
Right. So she was like, so don't
That's
start
true.
criticizing our babies because we have this thing DNA
Yeah,
memory.
it's always-
It's
yeah.
going
So
to be
you
in
trying to
blood.
send your brother to meet their maker? You sending them to the ancestors?
No,
I'm being
yeah.
facetious when
Yeah,
I say
right,
that.
right. But
Right? As much as we say, a lot of our music comes from Africa. It comes from the origin of a motherland.
even the drill trap, that's what she was saying
but,
though.
and again, that's what people are still trying to mimic.
But
We can't figure out that we the ones.
so every single
chosen
so the labels sign these kids, right? So it's like at the time, you know what I mean? I always travel, right? So I go to like the Midwest, I go to the South or whatever. So they telling me, yo, why y'all New York niggas don't rap like y'all from New York no more?
Yeah.
What year was this? What year was this? Huh?
This is like 5 years ago.
Right.
4 or 5 years ago.
When we about started to lose it.
I'm going to Missouri.
The
I'm
pandemic,
I'm
it
in
was up for
Georgia. I'm in,
grabs.
you know what I'm saying?
I think
Tennessee.
the music game was up for in
Illinois.
2020.
Yeah.
Who was running the music game? Think about it, because nobody was outside really.
Has anyone ever
and-
spoken about the pandemic?
Maybe
from a
Florida.
business
Maybe
That's-
Florida.
No, but
Florida
the
was
funny thing-
outside for the
The
pandemic.
funny thing about that,
Shit.
because down south has always kind of had a, they kind of were in a bubble. Now, it's funny that you mentioned that because around 2020, and we can talk about from 2020 to probably 2024,
That's when the
2025, there was not one hip hop song out that really rocked the whole summer.
Wait.
And in hip hop, y'all know,
Black
there's
on the-
always a song.
Right.
Let's take over the
Yeah,
field.
really-
Something.
Yeah, I was
Damn
going to ask
numbers.
another question, but I gotta wait. Hold on. During the pandemic, what is from the music perspective? What was anything being played? And as soon as we remember we was restricted. As soon as that restricted
Verses. It was a bunch of
What happened?
verses.
That's when verses really started popping.
The
Verses after verses after
Versus
verses.
started the imperial rise of Griselda happened.
That was the good part.
They started in 16, but their imperial rise
They 2021.
is because their music you have to sit down and listen to it.
Yeah.
So everybody's
Everybody's
in the house,
music. Right.
Okay.
right? So that's when it started. That's when verses. That's when
People had to sit down and actually listen. That's a
when
good point.
lyricism was taking a shape back in. Before that, the lyricism was commercialized in a commercialized package with Drake, Kendrick, Cole,
And that was-
Big Sean, and
yeah.
there would be aspects of lyricism, but it was always packaged in a commercialized a concept.
But once 2020, 21 hit, you had, you know what I mean? You say now, you had no choice but to listen to a Benny the Butcher, a 38 Spesh,
Yeah.
Conway, Ransom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those type of guys or whatever. So it's kind of like,
Pandemic.
and then it's like even with the industry with the higher up players, once they see people, you know what I mean? Oh, this back to this. All of a sudden, you see niggas revamping beats from like the 90s again.
We got more freestyles. We got more
so-
features. Like during that time,
about
I was
it.
busy doing features and people calling out.
Drake used Griselda's main producer to do his new album.
Okay.
But because you see, but you know why hip hop is suffering?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why hip hop is suffering for real.
Drake,
Because
yeah.
white folks that are hip hop heads, they don't fuck with this drill shit.
No.
Yeah.
The real one.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably
The white folks that are hip hop heads that spending the money that the us people that look like us in the community don't,
Right, 'cause
they don't fuck with this drill
Yeah,
shit.
they
it messes
love
up the
J.
money.
Cole,
It messes up the money. It
At all.
messes up the fun.
And
Yeah,
the
I noticed
culture
that.
is a stark contrast to what their view of hip hop is. It's like commercial. You know, you got commercialism.
preserving hip-hop
You got
more than us.
individualism.
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? Because like hip hop from its core was about you tell your story, you tell your story, he tell his story, she tell her story. We all could tell our stories and be accepted for what it is.
It was very diverse.
You didn't have
creative.
you didn't have to sound like him to be accepted. He didn't have to sound like you to be accepted. Right. And then once all of that started to get watered down, that was a new wave that the higher ups saw that they could use as a tool to control.
Facts.
Because remember, they were the ones that were pushing certain ideas. Like
But
you
one thing that's
mentioned.
been prevalent, and it's always a criticism on the culture, but no one has ever had, right? With the exception of Future, no one has ever had critically acclaimed long-term success without some form of lyricism. And why I say with the exception of Future is to be objective, right? Something is critically acclaimed when large groups of people are connected to the actual art of something. Just because it's not your cup of tea, don't mean it's not acclaimed in a specific
To the masses.
right. And what happens is we as human beings we want our emotional narratives met, especially in something that's tangible as music.
Emotional
So
narratives.
yeah, we want our emotional narratives met. In the urban communities, a rapper who's going, someone would just say, yo, Meek Mill rap better than Black Thought. Why? Because Meek Mill talk that shit. Meek Mill talk that shit.
And
right?
but on the other side, somebody could be like, hell no, I had somebody tell me Black Thought is the best rapper ever. You know what I'm saying?
So it wasn't me.
So
Could have been me.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's probably the way I
now
feel.
here's a synonymous. Here's a synonymous.
Meek Mill is good too, though.
Yeah, I don't deny. I don't disagree with that.
Right.
But here's a synonymous link, right? I'm just gonna show you something. In 2025, right, the average 18-year-old is at a third grade reading level. I'm gonna show you something. Real quick.
I see where you're going.
It's at a third grade reading level,
God.
right? In 1998, right? In 1998, it was the complete opposite, right? So now I'm gonna I'll show you something now. When you listen to drill, right, it is less articulate.
Yeah.
It is more energy,
Yep.
melody,
Yeah. Reactive.
right, and reaction to communicating a violent moment, right, and the consumption of that violent moment than artistry, right. So now what happens is there is no creative due process, and you don't have to be skilled to do that. Now, right, because talent is something the universe, God, whatever people perceive as, they give you where it becomes effortless.
Right.
Skill is repetition until that
Repetitive.
process becomes easier and easier to execute,
Right.
which is closer to perfection.
Close.
So now in a time capsule where when we went back to the doing too much,
Right.
there is no due process for young people in here. Now you add in the literacy lower, it's going to reflect in the music because hip hop is still a byproduct of literacy. You have to read and write. Now, what was socially engineered? Jay-Z used the 48 Laws of Power. One of the rules, appear godlike. Appear godlike with the perception of being effortless, right? So that's where he came up with the notion, I don't write, right? Because it was a also thing to appear godlike. He's very big on appearing godlike. It's not a knock. That's just part of his
brand.
his persona.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to take that on. But the thing about 48 Laws of Power, it is a colonial concept, right?
Oh,
It's not
my
an
God.
Eastern.
Talk
It's
about
not
it.
an Eastern concept. Eastern concept, right? Says
Literacy.
right. It says he says take a village to raise a child. Respect the scribe. You feel me? Words are weapons. See, you see the different concepts. So when these ideologies are breaking, like it broke down in Behold the White Pale Horse, right? In the what's the name section, it said we have to bastardize black culture. It's too sophisticated. So now I'm gonna go back to another date, right? 1992. These are just facts. 1992. Right before in the prime month of the summer of 1992, Fight the Power comes out. Right? People forget. Fight the Power was on actual certified closed caption national radio. Goes, right? Their record goes 3-time platinum. Right? Now, right? After that, right? The HBCU becomes nationally incentivized. So they paying attention like, wait a minute, this culture, now you have, Eminem talks about it in his what's the name? We were white kids going around with African medallions. This was that they seen how so sophisticated the culture was.
Right.
So this is not accident. I don't blame kids. I just highlight the social engineering. And I just think that what where your point was hip hop always needs to be in a place of versatility in the balance, because though D1 is right from an ethical standpoint, right? There is a compartmentalized difference between glorifying something and then telling a story, right? And then the art itself will be appropriate enough to dictate that reality towards the consumer. For them to idolize that, to not idolize that, to them to perceive that, to go whether or not are they glorifying that or are they telling their story, right? Because some people all they had was the streets. Some people all they had was the streets. But then, like Tony, which I agree with, where he's strong on is, bro, you was in the streets, you got a record deal,
Right.
you started to have success, you're approaching 50, and then you're still doing these tactics. So now you're just perpetuating a lifestyle, because guess what? You're not in the streets. You're making money from advertising. You're doing shows.
You don't live in the ghetto no more.
Especially if some of your records are on Billboard. Some of your songs are syndicated. So that's not your reality.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, of course.
With that, and I know you said we would talk about it, but what he said just reminded me of this whole 38 Spesh and Jada and Joe. And once Joe and them made the Aroma song, one of 38 Spesh's first criticisms was they too old to be talking about drugs. And whoever was interviewing him at the time said, you talk about drugs too. And he said, and this is a quote pretty much.
S.O. Heineken.
He said, S.O. Heineken. He said something like, I talk about how to stop selling drugs. I think he might be in his 40s, maybe early 40s.
I think like 40, 41.
Right? So we're talking about a 10-year difference. Because I'm piggybacking on what Versus saying. It's almost, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because it's okay for you to talk about it. He don't talk about not selling drugs or how to stop. Every record he has is about his expertise at selling drugs, how great he was at it, right? And now he's turned into a businessman. That can't be every little kid's dream to get out the hood.
And that's my problem with...
Like, I played basketball in college, I played in high school. Nobody would think that. But, I've had white people tell me that that's a ghetto ticket, right? They think that's the ticket.
Right.
Right?
Wow.
So it's almost shameful to say, I played ball and I rapped, but I have a college degree. Degrees, right? Like, I'm not a fool, but at the same time, if that's what I led with, certain people would say I'm fitting in to a stereotype.
You used it as a means.
Right. Well, Big said the only way out is a wicked jump shot. Or, right? I had a wicked jump shot, I had crossover, everything. But
That's
I'm
why
still
I
here.
I tell my son, I understand you want to play ball, but honey, cybersecurity, financial something. I don't care if you get drafted in the NBA. That is
Being behind the camera. What you're doing now is what a lot of rappers who feel they're not making no songs, but they do podcasts. We're still rapping. Like, I love to still get in the booth and go crazy, do a show. And I think as long as people like us hang around a little while longer, maybe the young guys will pick it up, and maybe we will see a balance in the type of music that they want to make, right? They making what they feel can get a deal. Or they can get off their block with drill, they're gonna do it. So who am I to knock them? I'm just saying it's a reason why this has not been shut down.
I got a question though.
Yeah.
Because we both in agreement, and I'm paraphrasing that, is we have to be successful, right? In order to change the paradigm,
I personally
right?
agree with that.
But there are a lot of people that's already successful. When I look at the NBA players, I look at Jay-Z, I look at Rihanna, I look at all of our black, beautiful people. We even got like the Essence, but like Kiki Palmer.
How do we define success as people of color? How do we define it? How do we define it as people of color?
When I say successful, respectfully, and I say this in the most objective space, right? I don't say it from the condescending, over competitive space that some of the liberals have and the feminists and the quote unquote black bourgeois intellectuals. But unapologetically, Jay-Z is just a capitalist. So now what happens is when you say success, right? It doesn't systematically have an impact, right? And that's an uncomfortable truth.
Man. There's too much of us now. We can come collectively now.
When I say systematically have an impact from a tangible standpoint, is it an inspiration? Yes. But the main arguments, and here's the irony, at the same time, here's an uncomfortable truth. He's donated more to charities and helped multiple than most of the rappers who have like good hearts and all that, simply because access to capital.
So I'm saying, how do we define success?
But
so
right, because you got
Jay-Z. We're not talking about Jay-Z.
We got On Your Leisure, right? We're not talking Jay-Z.
I'm not talking about him.
Just
so
podcasters.
That's why I'm saying
we got constantly, we got
those things don't correlate, right? Those things don't correlate to systemic solutions. They correlate to acquiring capital, right? Most unhealthy aspect about, and I'll say this, let me articulate that part. Unhealthy aspect about socially engineered black culture, because it's not authentic black culture, but socially engineered black culture is that, right, is this capitalistic concept of I'm getting to the bag, right? And there's this unapologetic, non-justified way, as long as you're getting it,
right,
that's all that matters. So what happens is every other culture, they have these cultural guidelines like, if we're gonna make money, it has to be this way. If we're gonna if we're gonna collectively do something,
it gotta be this way.
We have to combine this. They all could agree on that. So I'm not saying I understand these things are socially engineered. When I say back to being success, I say that it varies in the versatility. You have to get access to commercial success, capital, but then not contribute to the degradation of the culture. So it needs to be a combination of when you see a person at the capital, when they have the commercial success, right? Brandon, because we're in media. Brandon, there are certain people that if they say I'm going to go to this street,
right,
1 million people will show up, right?
Ooh,
Casanat, yeah. That's a capital. So now, what if he said, "Yo, from now on, let's," and I'm just paraphrasing him. Let's stop calling women bitches, right? There's gonna be a significant amount of people that do that, and then he's gonna say, "You know what? Let's wear our pants not below our butt crack."
You think they'll follow?
Some people gonna follow, yeah.
We're in it.
Because they follow
when you look at
because
the
of
other
negative.
spectrum,
cultural influence.
Right. When you look at the other spectrum,
cultural influence.
The cultural guidelines of dress code between masculinity and femininity have been drawn through influence. So, and that's not a knock to the LGBT community, because I do believe they need to be humanized. But I also see, right, the compartmentalized for social engineering for children.
Even people in their community.
No.
I mean, although I am part of the LGBT community, there are children being brainwashed, and they disagree with that.
Yeah.
I got a question for. Go ahead. You want to go?
No, I was.
Yeah, because
You can ask one question. I was about to.
You're gonna wrap it up, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into your music, and that's why I'm happy about what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
How are you going to collaborate your music into also teaching children and the youth what to bring some sort of balance back into hip hop, to bring the origin back into hip hop? Or you're gonna
Well, there's us together as the great ones, and then there's us separately, right?
Mm-hmm.
So us together, the great ones, I do believe we do that.
Okay.
And me hearing his solo album, The Working Man.
Yes.
What I think it does is it gives a highlight to say, okay, I'm going to humanize the authentic aspect of masculinity. I go to work. I have these feelings. I have these experiences. I have these admirations, right? I have these triumphs. I have these losses. But I'm going to authenticate that in poetic aspects, and I'm going to be as creative as possible. I think once a person does that, they just now have to feed into that. On the other side, right, then there's the musicality aspect of, right, me aspiring to have a certain level of commercial success. And, you know, God willing is looking like certain things contractually are happening. So as I'm aware of that, and some of the songs I'm doing is Afro beats, right, it's just... one of the songs called Wake Up is about just appreciating the day. We're waking up, gotta be thankful for the day. That's a human experience. Black, white, Muslim, Christian, gay, straight, fat, skinny, conservative, liberal.
Same experience.
It's a human experience. So now there's an opportunity to connect to that. So that's just important. So as long as we're not socially engineered, that musicality has to be connected to criminality to be authentic, we'll be in a safe space. Why? Because poverty and crime are proximity, right? Poverty and crime are proximity.
They neighbors.
It's not a race thing. It's poverty and crimes. That's what the proximity is.
That's a fact.
So in hip hop, until that situation has changed, there's always going to be someone from the streets that's going to authentically tell that aspect of the story. Now, are they going to be true and transcend and grow from that? That's up, to them, because Biggie was...
it's part of their journey.
Biggie was at his table with his mother when he was saying, like, yo, man, I can't talk about the same things anymore because I'm not going through that. He said that at a young age of 20 years old. So if he was collectively aware, this narrative that people are too young.
He was 20, guys.
Nas wrote Illmatic technically at 15, 14 years old, because you got to remember albums. Yeah, because you got to think from a technicality standpoint. Yeah. Albums come out 1 to 2 years from the release, because you have especially he was a new artist on Columbia, so he has to go through the quarterly cycle.
He was a teenager when he wrote that album.
So you actually samples cleared. A sample could take a quarter to get cleared. So when he's actually writing the stuff, he's in his mid-teens, like literally probably starting at 14 years old, writing some of this stuff. So the spectrum, right? Education is not the spectrum of intelligence. It's the opportunity and the access to information. And he'll tell you as an educator, and I was in education as well, like, yeah, but people keep being condescending with information. Look, systemically, they're trying to, from a federal level, remove certain information on purpose. This is not an accident.
You're using Google all the time. Sure.
This is an accident. When people are less educated, I know explain this up. And this is not a hierarchy bougie thing. This is just an uncomfortable truth. When people are less educated, pay attention to the way they disagree. They get ignorant. They get personal. They never stay in the context of what the conversation is about, because it's an emotional reaction, right?
The whack 100s of the world.
Secondly, most uneducated people, even because you can be intelligent but still uneducated, but most uneducated people who lack levels of intellectuality always are condescending with whoever don't know. So guess what? The world starts to say, I need to pretend I know because I'm going to be called stupid for not knowing.
I'm so happy you highlighted that. I do not like
going into that. I'll end it with, in our culture, the over-competitive aspect of our culture, because of post-traumatic stress syndrome, right? And the slavery that's attached to that trauma.
Post-traumatic slavery disorder.
Which is a real thing that's carried over. I don't think we're in a collective healthy space for us to have that level of competition in the culture and it stay healthy. We're not. Why? Because this is not the 18 and 19-year-olds who came in the prime aspect of the culture where I can lose creatively and appreciate the fact that the person was just more effective that day and be a fan of that. Now
they wired differently.
Now it's I need to justify and emotionally consume the win in any capacity. And if you have a superior skill set, now I need to make you look less criminal. Now I need to do this. And then that's what we have in with what he just said with the whole Jadakiss and 38 special. And now it trying to transcend into this big beef and everybody talking about paperwork as if you need to be a criminal to be a hip hop artist.
And that's not the origin, right? We all agree.
And on that note, I just didn't like that because it's like, shout out to those brothers, man. I hope they figure that out. Cause I just wanted to keep it on with the beats and on bars or whatever. Once you start talking about paperwork and questioning those type of things, now you take it to where somebody might feel like, they gotta do something about it. Because even if they not built like that, it's social media. So it's like, yo man, you know what I mean? You gonna let so and so play you like that? And then if you're not smart enough and don't have the intellect to stay away from that nonsense, you'll trick yourself out of being out on the street and being free. Right. While the rest of these people, when you get yourself locked up, God forbid, we don't want none of that to happen. We pray that they just keep it on wax or whatever.
Just don't operate from a low frequency standpoint.
Yeah, simple.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bottom line.
Like, the one thing that I did see for a split second was that whole thing between the two, for a split second, it was about the art. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then, just like that, it was gone. You know what I'm saying?
And that comes from the over-competitive aspect. It's from an unhealthy space. Right. I don't think we have the collective, I say collective, all of us, not just, I don't think we have the collective healthy conscience to just compete from a healthy space and leave it at that. There was a time you could go battle.
I was going to ask you that. What is
And
considered healthy?
then go home.
And I'll get, because we're going to end it on this note. Mm-hmm. It was, I went to Benny the Butcher show. Like, was it last year? Was that last year? Something like that?
Yeah, last year sometime.
So, when I went to Benny the Butcher show, that's the first time I saw him perform in person, right? But it just wasn't just people from the street in there. It's Chinese boys in there. It's white boys in there. I see white girls in there. I see some sisters in there. I see everybody from different cultures, and they all in the same place. Wasn't no bad vibes. Wasn't no rah-rah and shit. It was just simple. A bunch of people from different parts of New York City that love fucking hip-hop. And they're enjoying hip-hop. And once everybody left out of there, it was just a big party. Everybody's chilling. Wasn't no bad vibes. Wasn't no crazy. I think French Montana pulled up later on outside. It just was cool. Now, I've been to other rappers that I ain't gonna name shows. Like that was a hip hop show. Now this was a rap show. Now y'all know the difference between hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
So now I go to the rap show.
What?
The energy's funny. Everybody standing against the wall. It's just, you know what I mean? Everybody ice grilling each other. You gotta watch who you step on. It just was an uncomfortable situation where it's like, I can't even enjoy the show because I gotta watch my surroundings half the night because I'm around a bunch of hooligans that ain't about shit that's ready to pounce on something in a New York minute. So it just was kind of like, and then the show wasn't all that, to be honest with you. So it was just kind of like, okay, I'm like, damn, I just wasted 2 hours or what? I just wasted my time in this motherfucker. So I say that to say that there's still a hip hop crowd out there or whatever. There's still people that love hip hop. Yeah. We just have to provide, and that's where you guys come into play, providing that music for that particular crowd. Because it goes back to what you're saying. There's so many different genres. For everybody.
Right. That's right. So now, with that being said, we need to know what's going on with y'all project. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the situation. We want to know what's going on with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Where they could find y'all, and what's the the short term plan?
Well, the short term, we've made the collective agreement to release the single through United Masters. So we made a collective agreement to do that.
Dope.
The long term goal is that we're gonna continuously push it as the momentum goes, and then we're gonna be receptive to, additional help for the commercial success of it, because the concept of the song is so universally accepted. It hasn't been people who heard the record who don't like it from all consumptions. Like when you just said with Benny the Butcher, we've been having the opportunity to put the record in front of different forms of demographic. Now, so with that, it's just that's the actual goal. I think that one of the things that we've been talking back and forth for, I think we'll continue to release song by song by song, because we're gonna consistently work in the studio, and then the momentum of that will dictate the release strategy. But we'll be consistent in that, because he's extremely gifted, talented, hardworking, and passionate.
Thank you, brother.
I had some skill. I had some skills myself. So with that, and like I said, certain things I just can't contractually talk about that are happening, that are going to help perpetuate that thing commercially.
Now, real quick.
Oh, thank you.
For all of y'all out there.
Yeah.
See, this brother here is being modest. You know what I'm saying? I just want to let y'all know.
Yeah.
Y'all might be able to learn a little something. Both of these brothers here are pretty modest about it, even though we know
Right.
how dope they are.
And y'all gotta go and
You know what
make
I'm
sure
saying?
y'all
And
listen
who they
to the
are and who
music
they plugged
and who
into.
they are,
So
and
make sure.
Their names in the streets of New York.
Yeah.
Can I say thank you guys to y'all for being allowing us to have this type of conversation, right? A grown folks talk.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
want to give a shout out to the man who made the record. Oftentimes, like, the producers go unheralded.
Thank you.
Edward Stone is my brother. He went to school with Verse. I've been working with him since he's been a teenager.
Yes.
His daughter's
Shout out to
22,
him.
and his daughter was in one of my first videos when me and him started working together. And
Also,
shout out to Kenny
I wanted to say
Lloyd,
that.
who is who's Swiss Beats engineer and
he-
Edward Stone's mentor.
Yeah, he's his mentor, and he's also with Edward Stone's mixed and
so the
mastered
grace
record.
of the greats is
Man,
just
Right.
So-
So when Swiss Beats engineer touches our record,
Yeah.
and I've been working with Edward Stone for a while, but Kenny is a mentor that if I was Edward Stone's age, he would be my mentor as well, because I
Okay.
think, and Verse touched on this a lot today, but it's nothing wrong with looking at another black man or another black woman
Right.
and seeing something in them that says, I can learn from you. No matter their age,
Y'all hear that?
right? That's one thing that I'll say. I learn every day.
No
When
matter
I'm teaching
their
somebody
age.
something, I'm learning. And I
matter
think
the age.
that's important. So for me, from our perspective, I would be happy to see us, put out these singles, but also start to pave that path for the twilight years for hip hop artists, right?
Yes.
We had this conversation a little bit earlier, but I would love to see health benefits for artists, right? I would love to see some type of governing body. When you become an artist, it could be any type of music, but it's just too many of us that think
A union.
Yeah, you're gonna rap till you die. Like I would
Yeah.
really, because there's only ageism in hip hop, but I don't see us doing this more than another year or two. Because we
definitely
have our own solo careers,
Yeah.
but this song has been taken off. Again, Bad Things, Good People was shot by my man Linwood Neverson,
check
who
it out.
did a few documentaries for HBO. He's a great person to shoot a video when he does movies. We haven't released a video yet. We're gonna start clipping up the video in the next
Let
week
us
or
know.
two.
We would love to.
Yeah, we'd love to do like a release, and that's one thing we're talking about, doing a release party, a listening party in Harlem.
We'll be there.
Probably
We
can
debut the
communicate with you
video.
guys to do that.
Yeah.
Right, and everything.
Let's put it together.
We're gonna be looking for a remix.
Put
We're
that
gonna do
together.
some
Man,
challenges, some dance challenges, and some remix challenges
Yeah.
to see how
More
people feel
music
about the
coming out.
record.
Definitely more
I
music
feel.
coming.
Shit, I might have to. I might have
Speaking
to
of that,
take the pen back out.
Majestic the God, BSF's main DJ. He just produced a project I have called Urban Intellectual. So yeah, he's in.
Urban intellectual. I like
Yeah.
that.
So got that. I got the shout out to Moniral. I did a entire album with the legendary Craig G.
Shout out to Craig G.
Yeah.
Shout out to Craig G.
Intelligent hoodlum. One of the first ones, right, that thought about that.
Yeah.
Can you be an intelligent hoodlum?
In his name.
Right? It almost, It desensitizes the bad part of when you think about hoodlum.
Yeah, facts.
And there's an artist that signed to Rome Streets. His name is Ox, right? He's on Rome Streets' new album. We have a EP together called The Summit.
Shout out to Ox.
The Summit.
That's executive produced by Moniral as well.
Oh wow,
And
y'all got
they
it.
about to release we have the record with Sadat X and Master Ace.
Shout out to Sadat X.
Yeah.
Brand newbie.
Shout out to
Shout out to
him.
Master Ace also.
Because of Moniral, I've been able to
Yeah.
grace some of the legends. So those things are, I could speak about those because those things are like tangibly about the.
Listen, y'all, man, y'all friends in the room, man.
That's dope.
So y'all gonna be, you know what I mean? Y'all gonna be, y'all family, man. So y'all gonna be back and forth,
I'm
man.
telling you guys, this is the moment. Don't feel like you failed. This is it. This
Oh,
is
no,
like
I
a
don't feel
rebirth,
failed.
like the energy.
Nah.
2026, with while the upper echelons are fighting each other with the Republicans and the Democrats. You guys are going to just push right in, and you're going to get just the.
We was rehearsing the first time. I said, let's go to Funkadelic, which is a great rehearsal space in Midtown. Pay like
Times Square.
Yeah, $50-$60 an hour, right? And it's our first time rehearsing. And we just wrote the song, so we trying to get it together, and it's like a lot of finger pointing, a lot of blaming. Little demons never seem to hit what they aiming. Living good on the island, like it's Cayman. Let me break it down for the layman.
Okay.
The work all day, man, salt and pepper grayman. They had us never they home, no matter where they stay, man. Strays hit the innocent, the guilty keep strolling. They're giving you some RPs and they keep strolling. Streets out of control and life is taking a tolling. They waiting for you to fall and no guardrails to holding. Demon, streaming, backstabbing they teaming. Little Skeletors trying to fight with the He-Mans. We men of honors got bullseyes on our forehead. Sunday, 3 shot, 4 dead. More bread to get you baked. Wise God forsake. Material possessions, you could let them take a deadly mistake. Endangerment is reckless.
Damn.
Another young man's dying for a necklace.
Bad things happen to good people.
No, I'm telling y'all, y'all gotta get the young kids in here.
All right.
And good things happen to bad people.
Listen, man.
I really wish it was the
Right.
other way around.
Y'all heard it, man.
When it comes to sinning, y'all really infested. Innocent individuals is getting arrested by the political figures it's really obsessed with. That's why they calling them powerful pedophile. Bottom almost devoured by these powerful pedophiles. Y'all celebrated as an entrepreneur. I delegated that his heart isn't pure. America is ignorant. I hella hated. They only consider you an immigrant and melanated. Damn. Everybody got a beginning. That's why they looking 40 hours while poverty's winning. Cause bad things happen to good people. I know you don't really love
10 Toes exclusive, man.
This is
Y'all know what it is.
Yeah.
On that note, the great ones.
Listen,
10 toes.
I
That's
mean,
it.
Verse, Tony Stanz.
Look out for the video coming soon.
Look out for the video about to drop in the next couple of weeks.
Bad things happen to good people.
Bad things happen to good people.
We on a show called 10 Toes Down.
Yeah, that's right.
Good things happen to bad people.
Here we go. Here we
I know
go.
you don't love the way it sounds. Whoa.
Listen, that's the first live performance we done had in the show. Clap it up. Clap it up.
let's go.
On that note, 10 Toes down. Y'all know what it is.
I'm telling y'all.
My
We
point
out.
was when we
Like
did it a cappella, and then that's when we was like, nah.